Hello everybody, Darren here from RepublicOfPlay, and today we're going to go through everything that's in the Anno 1800 Seat of Power DLC. Now this DLC is the first for the second season pass for Anno 1800, and it's all about the palace. So in this video I'm going to go through how you build a palace, what it actually does, and whether or not really it's worth it. So the first prerequisite to actually building the palace is that you reach the citizen tier level of investors. And then that's going to give you the option to actually build the palace itself, which is then going to cost 1,000,000 gold and several other construction materials. So at these prices and at this level in the game, it is an end game DLC. It really is for campaigns where you've done pretty much everything else and you just want to add to it. So if you're just picking up Anno 1800, I don't think this DLC is necessarily a must buy until you know for sure that you enjoy the game and you've already done like a full campaign. The great thing is that it doesn't require a restart. It is save game compatible, so you can just pick up the DLC and then start building if you wanted to, which is what I've done in my campaign. Alright, so the actual palace itself is basically a building that provides buffs to the other buff buildings in your game. Now, first of all, actually, I think we'll talk about how the building itself actually works. So it isn't built in stages, you do just get the building as a whole, this kind of dome area here when you plop it down. And then you basically get to extend onto it several modules. Now each module is the same, it's just aesthetically different. So there's 9 different aesthetic modules, some that have like these end bits here, some that have arches, some that have junctions or whatever. And it's actually really creatively liberating because you can just kind of switch them on the fly if you want. So it's really nice that you can do that. Now each module actually, they're actually called wings. So each wing, let's say, costs you 50,000 to build. And it's going to give your palace extra range and then extra attractiveness. And the amount you can build is then limited based on the population globally that you're currently at. So I'm at 26,000 population right now, which has given me access to 34 wings. So at the next level, at 31,000, I can get 2 more. So each wing, like I said, is going to be giving you that little bit of extra range and then a bit more attraction value. Now the range is going to be used, if we look at this, the road network here, the range is going to go pretty much all the way from coast to coast for my island at the moment. If I built it a bit more central, I'm sure it would. And what that's going to do then is allow the different departments to actually reach these buildings that we have that they deal with. So the Department of Welfare deals with these buildings highlighted in blue. Department of Labor deals with any kind of trade unions you have. Culture, I think, is stuff for like the public mooring and things like that. And then administration is going to be your town halls and so on and so forth. So they give basic effects right now. So we can see that because my palace is reaching 3 different town halls right now, it's getting a plus 50 island workforce per town hall. So I could actually just build a few more town halls as well to actually really get that. Now, of course, you can't just build them on top of each other. They are limited per radius. You can't have the radiuses overlapping. So that's where, I guess, the max amount kind of comes in there. But 50 is still quite a lot. I mean, I haven't built nearly as many as I could. Now, there's actually then, under each different department, different policies that you can enable. So the policies themselves are going to be, there's 5 policies for every single department. And you always, actually, yeah, you don't have any at the start. Based on your attraction value is when you can start getting policies. So you can only ever have 1 on the go at a time, but you can unlock up to 5 for each category. So right now my attraction value is at 2,400. We're actually running the World's Fair event. And because of that, we're going to be getting a little boost to our attraction right now, and that might start to fall down when that's finished. So because of that, it means that our attraction bar is all the way up here, which means that we've just surpassed this little pip right here, and that's given us 2 reforms, or 2 policies that we can enact here. And once we build it up further, then the next one we're going to get are the Science Fairs Act and the Citywide Web Act. So this one and this one. So for now, we'll just focus on what we've actually unlocked and place them into the building itself. So the policies for administration, let's say, we'll just use something pretty simple like 30% reduced need for all foods. And because of where my town halls are, we've got really large coverage on everything that's actually being consumed. So these are all the houses that are consumed, and then the purple that are consuming food, I should say. And then the purple is going to be the town halls themselves. So we activate that, and then boom, these all basically get that benefit. Department of Culture is then going to affect the public mooring building, which isn't really that big. Or we could go with the Heritage Act, which gives us 10 influence per museum module. So I'm making 85 influence. If we activate this, I've got, I don't know, 10 or so museum modules. So I'm up to now 200 influence. So that's a really powerful one too. These are all quite powerful. Or we could go with one extra reward from the World's Fair event. So let's do that. Seeing as our World's Fair is going to end soon, we'll hopefully catch up with that a little bit later. Now, I've turned off some of these sound effects for the game because these trade notifications just constantly pop up, so I just didn't want to get kind of I didn't want it speaking over it, I guess. Alright, so then in the Department of Labor, we can just go with the Labor Act. It doesn't really matter what we choose, because there's not actually many trade unions here. But this one is actually very, very powerful, the Department of Welfare. So a policy we can enact here. This one, the Aspirational Finance Act. Now is not the time for thrift. There is money to be found in our people's pockets. We need but coax it out of them. So we get bonus income plus 50 for all the houses that are like in that kind of shade of dark blue, green kind of color there. So that's just doubled my income from plus 50. I'll just take it away so you can see. I'm making 30,000 now, and now I'm making 11,000. So it's crazy powerful, that one. So basically all the houses that are in adjacency effects to the universities, the variety theaters, power plants, and banks. And because I built my bank here, to be honest, it'd be more effective if these weren't investors. It only affects engineers and artisans, so that's why it's affecting these ones. So that's a really powerful one as well. And then the last one, it will be the Department of Trade. Now we've unlocked this, remember, because our influence is so high that we've just about passed that little bar. But I'm sure once the World's Fair ends, we'll probably lose this one. So we'll go with 300% productivity for coastal production. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what the palace is going to be doing for you. Now, as I said, you can build really freely, and I think I said it adds a lot of creative freedom in terms of how you build. And that's because you've got a building like this, the Archway. Now, the Archway actually allows for you to build a road right through it. So we'll just get rid of this and connect our road network to it. And that way we can just have a look at what we can do. So for instance, if you wanted to get really creative with it, much more so than I have, you can build a road that goes through the archway and leads into a series of houses. You could technically, theoretically, build an entire palace all the way around your town, almost as like an outer wall, and have your city inside it. That would be really, really cool, I think. It's really cool that they've actually allowed that with the road going through it. I think that's quite unique. You don't have that with something like the... Well, not really anyway, but you kind of... Yeah, you can't really do that with the Botanical Garden or the museum. Maybe you can, but this seems to be a really unique feature to have on like an archway that people can actually walk under with a road. So it's really cool in that regard. It also comes with new monuments. You've got the ornaments. You've got the palatial column. And I'm not sure what the other ornament is. I think it's the these flags. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's the Regal Standard. They're actually rotated the wrong way around, so let's just fix that. And then part of the free update actually added this, the Anno 1800 1 Million Pioneers Monument. So there's just several new things to kind of place around the place, which is quite cool. Now the other thing that the palace does, obviously it's affecting our home island here with all 5 different departments, and it's giving us really great effects. But on other islands, what you can build is something... So I'm on a different island now, I just clicked into it on the radar. You can build the local administration building. So if you go to here and palace and then local department, once you've built the palace on your home capital, you can build this elsewhere. So the local department then basically will feed in from the departments on your home palace. So let's just remove this for instance. So you select just one department. So it's like a mini palace building. And you'll say like, oh, I want Department of Labor, which will improve the kind of trade union buildings that it has a reach and connect to. So this one doesn't reach nearly as far as obviously the one with all the modules and stuff, but it reaches pretty far. And we'll go with Department of Labor, and you can only have one per island, so you really just have to figure out where to put it. And I know it's in a weird place for me right now, but I mean it works. And then with policies, we can go like, yeah, we want extra goods from these farms. Like this one's not going to do us much with heavy industry, as we don't have much out here. But here, this will be pretty good for extra goods from farms. So we'll do that. And that's basically it. You know, you just get extra benefits by having your palace sub-buildings elsewhere. So it's getting dark now. Let's just go back to daytime. And we'll head back to the main island. The World's Fair is finished. So now, my guess is that we've lost that 5th bonus. Yeah, we have. So this has gone out of... It's not active anymore. We lost the attraction value. But let's have a look. Did we get our extra stuff? So we'll unveil the rewards. See what we got. We should get 4 things rather than 3. Yeah, so the Cultural Outreach Act has given us our 4th thing, so we're after getting a bunch of monuments or whatever, so that's all well and good. And I should have the capabilities of running another one of these events right now, I think. So let's see what we could do. Science, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'll probably wrap the video up before it's done, but we'll just do that one. So now they're going to get all these things together, build that up, and the attractiveness will build as they fill it up. And once the attractiveness goes back up, then our buffs and stuff will be active again. Now, this is all minor stuff because really what we need to be doing is reaching like the end game things, which is like 6,000, 7,000, even all the way up to 9,000 attractiveness. So what I've been doing in my campaign right now is basically removing all industry. So for those who might be unfamiliar with the game, attractiveness is like how attractive your island is, and the more farms and pollution and things like that you have, you know, they kind of reduce it. So I want to get rid of all these farms, I want to get rid of all the kind of factories and stuff, and then run festivals, make sure we've lots of like trees and nature, and then we could even bring the zoo over here and different things. So we have the botanical garden, which I just slammed over here temporarily, giving me some attraction value. We have the what do you call it, the museum out here that gives me attraction value, and then the different modules there are giving me loads of different little bits that all kind of add up. So raising attraction value is now like the end game, not meta, but what you have to do in order to actually achieve peak palace if you want. So that's really what you're going to be focusing on a lot, is kind of getting rid of anything negative. So I'm shipping everything over to this island that was like all the pollution and factories and stuff. So all that's gone over here now. I conquered this island not too long ago from the anarchist, and then what we're gonna have to do is really pull everything back. So I've got a zoo all the way up here on this cliff that I've never really done much with. It's again just kind of put down randomly, and this I might lift up and bring back over and, you know, put everything back out here and raise that attraction value. So that's essentially it in a nutshell in terms of what the Seat of Power DLC actually does. So if we want to just take another quick look at maybe some of the additional things that come from the policies. If you're more of a stats-focused guy, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about buffs. So, for instance, I think we'll look at some of the late-game ones. You get extra VIP specialists at your public mooring. You get additional sockets in your trade union. So, trade unions normally only have 3, so getting a 4th one is actually could be quite good. Loading speed at your harbor. You have reduced needs for people near pubs, variety theaters, and members club. That one is actually really, really good because members clubs are going to be hitting places like all the investors and engineers that go to the members club. So anything in range of this that's a blue or green roof are going to have reduced needs. So these are all like really high tier, high level needs that can be quite hard to kind of satiate all the time. So having something like that is just really, really good. I've actually just gotten declared war on now. So let me deal with her. We'll just peace her out. She's fine. Request peace. See you later. Thank you. All right, I'll turn the audio back on because it's a bit weird without it now. There we go. All right, so that's pretty much it. Obviously, and so with this update as well, some other things that came into it are they added some extra monuments. They did some quality of life features with regards to being able to copy and paste multiple things at the same time, including roads. Sorry. Including like roads, so you can just go like this, and I think copy and paste like the roads and stuff around. So it's just like some extra little features that have made things just a little bit easier in that regard. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So for those who don't know, Anno 1800 is just one of my favorite games from 2019. I think it is actually my game of the year. And it just has huge amounts of content in it now, even if you don't have the DLCs. But of course, with the previous DLC, we were able to then go out to the Arctic, which is a fantastic addition to the game. Absolutely love the Arctic. And with this next season pass, we'll be able to go out to the desert. Well, I don't want to be rude and just call it straight up desert, but you know what I mean. We can go south and see what's down there. So that's all coming in a future DLC. So personally, for me, I don't know if I'd necessarily just recommend getting the palace on its own. It's a nice late game, end game feature. It's got some nice buffs, and it's fun to work towards like increasing the attraction of your island and stuff. That is enjoyable, and I've enjoyed building into it. And I think it actually adds like a lot of creative freedom, like I said, to really get creative and build things in an interesting way. But it is kind of expensive just for one building, one late game kind of thing that gives you some buffs. Even though they are powerful, that doesn't really mean much in terms of like why it should cost so much. So I think it's better suited to the actual... Well, I think it's good, I just think it's a little bit expensive. At least that's kind of subjective, but that's just my opinion, that it is a little expensive for what it is. So I would get it as part of the season pass, and it is a very nice addition in regards to that. Well, anyway, that's pretty much it for the Palace DLC. It is obviously quite a small DLC, which is why I say I would personally recommend it within the Season Pass, or maybe on a sale if you rather get these things on their own. And that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think of my city. Actually, you know what we could last do? Let's have a little walk around. I'm going to set it back to daytime so we can actually see what the palace looks like up close. I meant to say... Whoa, a bit too close. I meant to say it is extremely detailed. Obviously, this little mode here is like a kind of an Easter egg. Oh man, look at that, the lens flare, the flag blowing in the wind. It looks great. It's never meant to be really looked at from the ground level like this. This is kind of like an Easter egg thing, but I just think it is one of the most beautiful buildings they've added in the game so far. They've got the different busts from all the different characters that are in the game, which I think is just a really cool addition. And then obviously we have the 1 million players milestone thing there. And then, like I said, I was the one who designed this layout, so it's pretty standard, nothing too crazy. But you can kind of have fun with kind of experimenting and deciding how you want to build it. So I built more archways here, and there's like a second layer to the back. Where are all those ladies going? Led by one man somewhere. And then the very last thing I noticed was, I like to think it's a nod to Republic of Play. It most certainly isn't, but I like to think of it as it is. But there's our logo. It's almost our logo anyway. So I like to think maybe a little artist somewhere just thought, huh, I saw a video by that young man, and how lovely it was. And then there's the other faces of the busts of other characters. Bente Jorgensen, a personal favorite of mine. Can't remember that guy's name. We have the Queen and then someone else. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think of the DLC and whether or not you've been playing with it or picking it up, or if you've done anything interesting with building the palace itself. I think it's really good. I love this game though, so I'm quite biased. Look at the people, they're even up on the balconies and stuff. There's a lot of attention to detail, you gotta love it. Alright, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, dang, that one was the paperback.
Oh my god.